Hey guys, okay, so I wanted to hop on and record a video on why most virtual assistants stay stuck at $3,000 to $3,000 a month, and then how to break it, okay? So if you're a virtual assistant stuck around 2 to 3K a month, it's not because you need more clients. You probably have a crap ton of them. It's because you're positioned completely wrong, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is the problem. All right. So one of the biggest problems is that you're offering tasks and not outcomes, right? So if you sell email management, calendar management, those are tasks. Naturally, someone isn't going to pay you as much for a task being done as they would for an outcome. So the outcome being a clean inbox or a super organized calendar, like whatever. I'm just throwing the easy stuff out, right? It could be like a setup and functioning CRM system. It could be like automations on Go High Level, right? Those are outcomes. You're selling them an outcome versus just a task. Number two is you're probably charging hourly, which really caps your income, right? So if you're charging, let's say, 35 an hour, there's only so much you can make in 40 hours a week versus if you're charging a set number for a project. So let's say 1,300 for a project, and you don't have to give them how many hours it takes you to complete, but you're giving them an outcome with that project, and it's costing 1,300, right? So yes, charging hourly is the second problem. And then third is clients kind of see you as the help. They don't really see you as a growth driver when you're doing tasks and you're working hourly, right? You have to start positioning yourselves, truly involve yourself in their business, position yourself as a growth driver in their business and as someone who brings them more revenue, right? And then lastly, the last part of the problem is that you're essentially competing with cheaper VAs. I don't know if you know this, but any given client could go overseas and hire a VA for like $10 an hour. And naturally, us in the United States, we cannot compete with that. We can't live on $10 an hour anymore. And so, yeah, you really have to work on how you're positioning yourself. And that's why you're maxing out at 2 to 3K a month. So if someone can replace you with a cheaper VA, your service is essentially not specialized enough, okay? So let's talk about the three biggest mistakes that people make, all right? Or VAs, I guess. So the first mistake is that you try to do everything. So you have no niche, you just, anything that's a task, you're willing to do it. So as a generalist, you can get hired really fast, but you will never get paid well. You truly have to find a niche and something that you're really, really good at and specialize in it, niche down into it, okay? Mistake number two is charging hourly, all right? So if you're charging hourly, and we've kind of already talked about this, is there's no scalability for you. You have 40 hours a week unless you go overtime, but there's only so much. You're very capped in how much you can make, okay? And here's the even bigger problem with charging hourly. Clients will literally nickel and dime you. They'll be like, oh no, I'd rather pay 25, and you're like, oh, I need this client, let me do it, right? You do not want to be nickel and dimed. You want to be seen as a partner who works with them, not as an employee or a VA. Well, you are a VA, but not as a hourly worker, essentially, right? And then mistake number three is that there's no revenue link skills when you're selling yourself, right? So essentially, you're not tied to any money making activities. Cleaning up an inbox is not tied to any money making activity. Therefore, it's something that they will try to get a lower rate on, that they try to cheap out on, or you make yourself dispensable. And then what you have to do instead to make yourself tied to money, you have to sell an outcome, right? So, for example, a sales system, an automation, a client conversion sheet, or something in that direction, right? Sell an outcome. So the closer you are to revenue, the more you get paid. So if I, for example, were to sell them something like a fully set up Go High Level system with like a leads funnel, an automation, emails, all of the good shebang, right? That's directly tied to them to money making or to revenue making activities, right? So then all they have to do is get the lead to download or get the lead to their website. The lead will then download the freebie and get into their email chain and then buy from them. And I have set all that up and therefore is making them money, right? So that's a money making activity, okay? So let's hop into the third part, all right? So here's what I need you to shift to change everything. Firstly, you want to be a systems specialist. You want to kind of roll into that systems specialist identity. That's what's going to make you a ton more money, okay? And why system specialist? Because you're able to kind of get into that revenue making activity, right? Somebody who focuses on systems and is really skilled in setting up systems, right? Putting the flow of a business together with various systems, and then also managing those systems for a small business owner or a large business owner is so much more valuable than someone who just comes in and can do like a task here and a task there and a task over there, right? You're essentially solving a very specific problem. You own a very specific outcome, right? You're responsible for those systems working. And you can use tools that most people don't know how to use, or most basic VAs don't know how to use, like CRMs. You can do automations, project management platforms, right? And you're using those tools to drive results for the client, okay? And so if you really get into the system specialist identity, it will change everything for your business. It will help you exponentially grow your business. So I just want to give you guys a comparison real quick. A VA essentially is like, I manage your inbox, and a specialist says, I build systems that help you close more clients, okay? So totally different things. Can you see how one is linked to revenue and carries so much more value with it than the other, right? So, and then part number 4 that I want to talk to you guys about is your path out of the 3K a month, okay? So I want you to pick, so these are literally the steps you need to follow to get beyond 3K a month. Everything else we just talked about was just informational, but these are the steps I want you to follow, okay? So number 1, pick one high income skill, and that can be moving in the direction of CRMs, automations, funnels, operation systems. You can even pick like a niche segment, like finance is a very good one, or legal system, right? Pick a high income skill, something that most other VAs don't have, that is very, very valuable to a potential client, okay? And then number 2, package it into an offer, all right? So you're not selling hours. Like, just throw that out the window, okay? You are now selling a package, okay? And the package includes setup and then retainer, all right? So you want essentially, like, let's say it's a $5,000 setup for the project, and then you're also putting them on a monthly retainer for $1,000 every single month for you to maintain said system. And that's, like, just think about that. You get 2 new clients a month, you've made $10,000, okay? And then you're also getting $2,000 reoccurring every single month after that. Like, how great is that, okay? So you could essentially add 1 new client every month for like a little while, and then just do until you have enough retainers. And yeah, you would just make it, it's so much quicker. You see how it compiles so much quicker? And then number 3 is sell outcomes, not tasks. This is so important, okay? You're not going to say on the discovery call or the kickoff call, whatever, I set up Go High Level. Or when you're introduced to them, like, you don't just set up Go High Level. You're going to say, I help you convert more leads automatically, okay? And that's, you're selling essentially what they want, not the system, okay? Again, link it to revenue as much as you can, all right? So those are the first 3 steps. that, or the 3 steps that you're going to follow to get from where you are now at 3K a month to 10K plus. And it's not hard to do. I'm going to be very, very brutally honest with you here. There is not enough specialized VAs out there to do these kinds of tasks. And these small business owners don't have the funds to, we are like, so there's VAs here, okay? Up here is like director of operations, and everything in between is just a blah space that nobody really is in. And the business owners don't have money to essentially hire a director of operations, and they want someone that they don't have to tell every single thing to, like a basic VA. They want someone who can do the in-between, right? Set up the system and then run the system and have that knowledge that is also in the in-between financial space, right? Because they don't have money to spend on this, but they have money to spend on this, okay? So having said that, moving into the income path, okay? To keep it simple, I'm just gonna do a little bit of math for you guys. If you get 3 clients at 3K a month, that's 9K a month, okay? Like that's pretty great. I could live off of that. If you get 2 clients a month at 5K, that's 10K, okay? So we just kind of did this math. So if you had 2 clients and their projects were 5K and then you put them on a 1K retainer, that's 2K retainer per month. That's like, who can't manage 2 client projects, right? That's so easy versus I guarantee you right now you have like 50 clients and they're all paying you a very small amount, which is like very frustrating. So you don't need more clients, you just need better ones, okay? And you need to just position yourself better. And if you're using the 1, 2, 3 steps that I just gave you, I guarantee you're gonna get there, and it's so much easier than you give yourself credit for. And I'm gonna be doing tons of videos on how to get those clients, where to find them, all of that good stuff, positioning, so that you can go out there and really win and get to the level that you actually want to be at, okay? So just to close this out, if you want to learn more about how to actually build a 10K a month service using systems and automations, I do break it all down step by step inside my blueprint, and I'm going to link that below, okay? All right, see you guys next time.